Hi, I'm Dr. Asatar Bear from Meditation 2.0, where inner peace meets modern life. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how to sit and the one way you should not sit, proper posture for meditation. So there's three basic principles to keep in mind for your posture for meditation. So the first is that you want to have a straight, upright spine. All right. You want your body to be in alignment. Okay, so your spine is upright and your head is in alignment with your spine. Okay, your shoulders are in alignment with your hips. Your posture is what they call stacked. All right, so that nothing is out of line. Right, you're not leaning too far forward or too far back or to the side. Right, you're in alignment. Second, your knees should be slightly below the level of your hips. And this is important because if your knees are higher than your hips, which is often how we sit, if your knees are higher than your hips, you're going to find it hard to keep your lower back straight. Your lower back is going to tend to bend, and that's going to eventually pull you out of your upright posture, or it's just going to make it very difficult. You're going to have to apply a lot of tension in order to keep your back straight. The third thing is that you want to try to relax as much as you can, given that you have a straight, upright spine. All right, you want to release all unnecessary muscle tension, which is going to be a lot more than you think. Right? We carry around a lot of unnecessary muscle tension. Now you're going to need a little bit of that, otherwise you'll just sort of you'll collapse into a puddle, right? You need some muscular activity, but you want to try to minimize it as you sit, become more and more settled into the posture. Okay, so those are the three things you want to keep in mind, no matter how you're sitting. All right. Now, how should you actually sit? Well, for those of us who were raised in the industrial world, the odds are that you grew up not sitting on the floor. The odds are that you grew up sitting in chairs. For people who grew up sitting on the floor, you might be very comfortable sitting on the floor while you're meditating. For those who have not and have only rarely sat on the floor, then you should sit in a chair. So here's me demonstrating proper posture in a chair. All right. So the first thing that I'm doing here, just notice I'm just checking my waistband. I don't want that to be too tight. If you have a belt, loosen it. You want to be able to breathe down deep in your belly. And if you've got something that's real tight on, that's restrictive, it's going to hamper that. All right. Secondly, just raise your shoulders up real high, tighten it up, and then relax. All right. All of us carry a lot of extra tension in our upper, trapezius and shoulders in that area. You want to just, first tense that, then relax it. Notice that I'm sitting on a cushion to raise my hips up above the level of my knees. The height of your seat is also important for that. I'm using a yoga bolster, which I recommend. It's firm but not too hard. It's a great seating for meditation. All right, your feet should be flat on the floor. Notice that I'm barefoot. I like to sit barefoot. You get some electrical grounding that way, actually, which is good for you. Your hands can be either up or down on your legs. And don't lean too far forward or too far back. Don't have your head pointed up or down, right? Again, try to have your head level and your body in alignment. And you'll notice it, you'll settle into it over time as you sit. And try to make slow and small adjustments, okay? Because stillness is really important for meditation. That's partly why we want to have good posture. We want to be energized. We want our energy to be up. But we don't want to be using that energy in activity. We want to be circulating the energy, accumulating energy, right? Learning about who we really are and giving ourselves the energy to actually be that way in life, right? That's the struggle. What about sitting on the floor? Let's talk about that. Well, Sitting on the floor, of course, is that's how we tend to think about meditation, right? If you think like, what does a person look like when they're meditating? They're gonna look like this, right? This is the posture for meditation. And the posture itself is called Padmasana. It's also known as the lotus pose or the full lotus posture. And a very ancient way of sitting. And it's well known because the Buddha sat in this way, right? And there is no one who more embodies meditation itself than the Buddha, right? And the posture of the hands is also, part of all this. That's called the Dhyana Mudra. So, a lot of people have the idea that that's how you should meditate, and any other way that you sit is just not as good, right? And so, especially with the rise of yoga, a lot of people work hard to try to attain postures like this, even if they don't come very naturally to them. I did this myself. When I was young, I spent about 6 weeks stretching and, working on this posture until I could sit in this way. I have to say I never got to the point where it became very comfortable, but I was able to do it, and I would meditate sometimes. At this point, I'm going to say it's not necessary, and it isn't better anyway. And that's important, because when you're meditating, meditation is hard enough to do with what's going on internally, right? It shouldn't be that hard on you physically. And the one thing that I want to talk about, especially in terms of postures on the floor, is that it's very, very important that whatever posture you choose, and of course, you need to be the judge, right? Whatever you decide is right for you is right. But I just would really caution you, do not let any part of you fall asleep, right? You know that when you're pushing yourself too hard with a posture that's difficult, is when your foot falls asleep, your leg falls asleep. This is really not good for you. Meditation, as I said before, is about circulating energy. It's about accumulating energy. If your foot falls asleep or your arm falls asleep, if any part of you falls asleep, then the energy is not circulating to that area. And that's not good. It's not good for your foot. It's not good for your body at all. So try to avoid that. If that's happening, release the posture and walk around for a while, or choose a different posture. I have meditated in all different postures, and I can tell you without a doubt that sitting in a chair is a very good posture, and there's nothing that you should feel bad about. That's how you sit. This is a great way to sit. In fact, it might even be better than the lotus posture, because it doesn't close off the energy in your lower body, right? That's a posture that was developed by sages, by people who are practicing a very ascetic path. Okay, there is one way that you should absolutely not sit ever. Okay, and I'm just going to demonstrate this for you, okay? Here's how you shouldn't sit. And unfortunately, if you Google meditation, you'll see lots of images of people sitting in exactly this way. And the reason it's not good is because you can't possibly have an upright spine for very long when you're sitting this way. I mean, look at my knees are way above the level of my hips, and you can see that my back is tending to round. And if I really keep it together, if I really, exert myself, I can keep it straight. I mean, of course, it also depends on your flexibility. But it takes a lot of muscle tension to do that. And, as you sit and as you settle down, you're going to tend to release that, and then you're going to be slumping, right? This is just not a good way to sit. Nobody should sit this way. So avoid that one, right? Sit in a chair or use a cushion. Make sure that your hips are above the level of your knees. That's really, really important. You want to be comfortable enough so that you can sit for a reasonable span of time. So Dr. Herbert Benson, who wrote the Relaxation Response, and one of the great pioneers as a researcher on meditation, he said, you know, it takes a certain amount of time for this relaxation response to be triggered. And what this means is that the part of your nervous system which tells you to relax and slow down, that's called the parasympathetic nervous system. When that part of your nervous system is triggered, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure lowers, your body releases, hormones which tell you to relax muscle tension, and basically that you slow down, different compounds are released in your brain and so forth. You want that to happen, right? I mean, the problem of modern life is that your fight or flight response, which is the other part of your nervous system, it's called the sympathetic nervous system, is kind of always stuck on. You need to slow yourself down. And this is what posture should help you do, right? It should help you sit, help you settle down, and help you open yourself to what meditation is really all about. Meditation is about the state of unity. It's about experiencing the reality that life is one. And if your back hurts or your foot has fallen asleep or if you're uncomfortable physically, it's less likely that you will experience what meditation is really about. You'll get that it's difficult. You'll get that you don't like it. Will you return to it enough to really feel all there is to feel from meditation? Probably not. And I don't want that for you. I'd like you to be able to experience it all. All right, so I hope this video has been helpful. I teach an entire course on meditation. It's called Meditation Basics. It starts at the very beginning. And if you're interested, go to my website, which is meditation2.0.com. You can learn a lot more about the course. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Asattar Bear from Meditation 2.0. Namaste.